Good morning. Hello. And welcome. I basically took this week off. Tuesday was rough. A lot other things happened on Tuesday, and I was also extremely tired. So when it came to stream time, I was just brain off. Uh, so that's why I wasn't here on Tuesday. It was just brain off, and I was like, oh, I'll try it Thursday. And then because I don't have a schedule, I can tell you exactly what happened there. Because I don't have a scheduled show on Thursday, I used that to justify, well, no one's going to show up, right? Even though people show up on Thursday, even though I know people show up on Thursday, um, I convinced myself. So then I spent Thursday playing Civilization, which is such a time vampire that Thursday was essentially just a write-off, complete write-off. Um, by the way, if you've never played Civ, don't. It's a time vampire. It results in an entire day just being gone. Um, and then yesterday was car troubles time. My car's been having issues, and yesterday was the time to take it in. So they had it for a big part of the day, and I was waiting for them to call me because they said it to be done by the end of the day, which was great. To get it in and get it fixed and get it back to me the same day, great. About 3 minutes before 5 o'clock when they close, I called them because they hadn't called me, and he said, "Oh yeah, your car is ready. I got so busy I forgot to call you back." And then I had to run over there. So I was kind of sitting by my phone all day, waiting for them to call. Then I had to run over there, and I, like an idiot, didn't put on proper shoes. I just grabbed the nearest thing, which was my flip-flops. And let me tell you, trying to run out because it's walking distance, but it's like 25 minutes casual walk, and I wanted to get there quick, so I was running. I got blisters on the bottoms of my feet. So now I'm standing in the kitchen. So unfortunately, Friday was a bit of a write-off as a result of waiting around and not having the vehicle, but also waiting specifically to get it back. Today I'm standing, and I think we're going to not stretch this out too long because of the foot thing I just mentioned. They're not super bad, but they're a little bit uncomfortable. And today we are making pretzels, which I've talked about several times. We made once before. I've talked about several times, wanting to get back to it. Finally, today's the day. I think this might be the first revisit. No, the pita. We just did it. We just did a revisit with the pita. I always say I'm going to revisit things that I've got almost right, that were really good, but were almost right. I think I can improve them, and I haven't. If you've noticed, I never seem to go back. We're going back. We're making pretzels today, from scratch this time. I think last time I used a pre-made starter dough. We're making from scratch yeasted pretzels. We're still in baking. We're still in baking mode. We're still in the mood for that. I have a recipe up from Sally's Baking Addiction. I also have a recipe up from the Cookie Rookie. My monitoring panel lagged a little bit, but we didn't drop any frames. It was probably only on my end. So yeah, we're going to be making that, and if there's enough time, I don't know, I'll slap together some nonsense just to fill out the time, because I don't think this is going to take very long, because the pretzels don't need to rise a lot. It's a yeasted dough. It's a yeasted bread product, but they don't need to like really balloon up like a bread does. So the resting time, the proofing time is extremely short. As a result, I'm going to start preheating the oven now because I think we're going to get to it. Selena, homemade pizza. I do love a homemade pizza. And yes, you are too slow. Spear has defeated you and is officially first. Welcome in, both of you. Let's get to my recipe. Oh my god, and Spear has resubscribed for lucky number 13. That, my friend, is almost an entire year. And Saizan's also here, demanding a moisten. I will have to get a glass. Because I did not have one ready. Glass. Moist. Okay. Good morning, good morning. If you missed my intro spiel, tell me to repeat it. Otherwise, don't tell me to repeat it. Oh my god, a glass of water. Amazing. Bowl. So yeah, we're making pretzels today. Let me grab my recipe. We need warm water. Chewy pretzels, soft pretzels, yeasted pretzels. Last time I made pretzels, I sat and thought about them for like the next day. Thermometer. I was getting a thermometer so I can check is this one working again yet? No. My favorite thermometer has given up on me. It probably needs one of these stupid little batteries. It's got one of these little button things. So I don't have any of those, so I can't replace the battery. But sugar and melted butter. Okay, I got to read this recipe. I'm doing a recipe. We need 1 tablespoon of butter. I can do that. I actually have 1 ready to go. 1 tablespoon melted butter. So let's go pop that in the old microwave so that it can be that thing that I just said. Okay. Yeast. We're going to get out my yeast, which may or may not be old. We need the flour. The flour tower, the tower of flour, is already at hand. We need our handy dandy wooden spoon, of course. Baking soda. Ooh, we need a lot of baking soda. I hope I have enough baking soda. Probably just. But we need a lot of baking soda for this because we're not going with I lost my train of thought like 3 times already. Last time I made pretzels, I got thinking about pretzels. Because the traditional way to do it is with lye water. And they get dipped in for like 2 seconds. Typically the home method is using baking soda, and they're boiled for 30 seconds. And that's because lye, if you do it wrong, is poisonous. Quite poisonous. So it's not recommended to do that at home. They leave that to the professionals. But I was thinking, lye is extreme and baking soda is pretty weak. Can't we find a middle ground? And I was thinking of doing this as an experiment with pickling lime, which you can get a hold of much easier than lye and is less alkaline than lye, but is more than baking soda. So it should be sort of a split the difference. But I didn't do that. So here we are, not doing experiments and just going with standard method. We're going to put my yeast right in this bowl. And a quarter. One of those stupid things where everything's measured in packets of yeast. Why do that? Akbara. Soda ash. Soda ash is the start of how you make lye, I believe. Potassium. But we're using baking soda because what I have, and I haven't done any experiments. Also, welcome in. Hello. Good to see you. Hello. Oh, I get distracted. I'm a little tired. This time it's not insomnia. This time it's because I was once again playing Civilization last night. And was up till an embarrassingly late time. How much water? Oh, not even that much water. Okay, we can just put that right in a cup. It was just one more turn, just one more turn, just one more turn. Exactly. And I was playing the game on marathon time, so it's also just one more turn, and we're barely into the medieval age, and I was playing for hours. So even worse than usual. Come on, water, be warm. Okay, we're not going to microwave the water or heat the water. We're just going to use whatever comes out of my tap. Oh, so I've heard of that. Burnt, I've heard of that. This water is rapidly cooling down. I was shooting for about 100 degrees. We got this to about 93. Have fun, little yeasties. Yeast into warm water. Then we add other things to that. So now I can measure out other stuff. Anyways, yes, I know lye is dangerous for home cooks. I would do experiments with lye on myself, and then if it worked out, graduate. I'm not supposed to add sugar to this just yet. I'm supposed to warm them up first and then add the sugar, because this is not a really aggressively risen dough. So yeah, I normally I would think I would add it now, but it also adds more sugar than I was expecting. It's asking for a tablespoon of sugar, which is a lot more than I would go for typically. Well, see, I was thinking about pickling lime, which falls in that same range, and you can get, but I've never heard of pickling lime being used for this, so I don't know if it would impart some strange flavor and why people avoid it. Because it's less extreme than lye, but it's more alkaline than baking soda. Boy, I am gonna have to make myself some kind of breakfast. Anyways, we're not doing any crazy experiments this time. I'm just using a by-the-book baking soda method here. I will do experiments some other time. We'll have to remember to come back to this. We always need to remember to come back to these things. Okay, so the yeast is warmed up a bit. We're going to add quite a lot of sugar. My sugar dish is actually getting a little bit low. So a tablespoon of sugar for the yeasts. See, that's what I was thinking, that it would impart a flavor, but no one seems to talk about it. At least in the places I was reading, there was no like discussion about it, as though it was just of course you don't use it. Which makes me want to try it, because people are just like, well, naturally. Then I'm like, well, not naturally. Why not? I need a whisk, because we need to make these powders dissolve. So we've got a tablespoon of sugar, a teaspoon of salt, and our butter. And the water's warm, so the butter isn't seizing up immediately. I've made that mistake before. Melted butter, add to thing. Oh no, the dish is cold. It immediately seizes up. Welcome in, Bookwoman. I mean, lye is the traditional method, so it has been done safely. It's the traditional way of doing it. It's just that you have to be very, very careful, because lye is very, very caustic, and if you get too much in your pretzel, it will poison yourself. I got these dishes out to measure things, and I didn't measure them. Backseating is welcome around these parts. Oh, a baker specialized in pretzels. Amazing. Well, I'm happy to disappoint you with this is literally the second time I've ever made pretzels, and the last time I used a pre-made dough. Exciting. Welcome, welcome. I do have a recipe. I don't know if you caught my. I'm using Sally's Baking Addiction as my recipe, and this is a. Again, this bugs me. A lot of recipes have my. Sorry, I'm a little tired, so I'm going to be misspeaking a lot as well. A lot of recipes. Got a measuring spoon on the floor, of course. A lot of these recipes keep insisting on measuring stuff in volume instead of in weight. And I'm getting a better handle on what the doughs are supposed to be like, so I'm less at the whim. Where'd my towel go? I'm less at the whims of these bakers who are super familiar with stuff. But still, it's frustrating, and you should always write your recipes measurements by weight. If I have questions, I will definitely ask, but I'm more likely to just power through any questions I have and be like, we'll find out. We'll find out together. Baking is one of the two big hurdles that I'm working through. The other one, we haven't even started yet. The other one is sugar work, candy making. That one's scary. Anyways, we need to add 3 cups of flour to this, a bit at a time. And I know it's going to be very sticky at the beginning. So I'm going to go with 1 cup. But backseating is always welcome. No spoilers, but backseating is always welcome on my cooking show. I seek to learn as much as I seek to teach. So anyways, this is all done by volumes, so I'm just going to go by volumes. And then I'm going to judge the doneness. See, this is real wet. So we already are going to go with more flour. Not sure why it had me add it a bit at a time when the first cup was basically just soup. And we don't have a stand mixer on these parts because we can't afford one. So everything's done by hand, which is another thing. A lot of recipes call for run your stand mixer, do this with your mixer. And I'm like, here's my mixer. Bookwoman, you have resubscribed for lucky number 13 months. That, if my calculations are correct, is almost 1 entire year. Welcome back. Thank you so much for the Prime sub. The sub that you could use anywhere, but you're using here. Amazing. I've already lost track of how many scoops I put in here. Was that 4 or 5? Distracted cooking. That's something I should do. Get a distracted emote because I keep losing track. Especially when I'm tired, I lose track of what the heck I'm even doing. I'm gonna need my scraper back to rescue my spoon. So I know what consistency we're kind of going for because pretzel dough needs to be hand rolled. So I think I can probably. So this is either scoop 5 or scoop 6. And it says I can add up to a half cup more as needed to make it no longer sticky. So we can potentially just go over by an entire scoop. Because it's probably going to be good after this one. Because it's not immediately picking up the remaining loose flour. So ooh. that's also a concern. Lye is very caustic. I would be wearing big old heavy duty rubber gloves if I was going to work with lye at home. And I'd probably get a new pan specifically and solely for the lye, and then never use it for anything else. But I wasn't intending to go for lye. I was hoping to go for lime, but sticky. This is close, and it's getting harder to stir with the spoon. So, and it's not sticking to the bowl anymore. But I think it's going to need a little bit more flour as we work it together. It's still wanting to stick to the spoon. So we'll add just a bit. Just a smidge. As I get to know how flours or how doughs behave through this gradual learning process, I've been getting better at just kind of eyeballing stuff because they are often very dependent on the humidity, and we've been having a humid couple of days here, so. Okay. Push this stuff together. We're still sticking, but less so. I'm going to do this. I need to flour my hands as well. Okay. looking a little shaggy. So the dough is no longer sticky. Poke it, if it bounces back, it's ready for kneading. And in my experience, it will need a little bit more flour as we go, as I work the outer flour in. Because we need to now knead it for a scant couple of minutes. Oop, my thing just said that an ad is coming up. Let me check. Oh, the ad is actually current. I apologize. I did not call it out in advance. Let's flour my work surface. Roll this guy out onto it. We're going to keep the bowl handy, but we're going to scrape out all the little bits. Interesting. So the pop-up for the ad break came up in OBS and in my chat, but it didn't stay up in OBS. It immediately got cleared, whereas the one in Twitch's panel is still there, telling me that there is currently an ad break. Let's look into that. Eh. We're still a little bit sticky. And our ad break is over. Welcome back. We're still a little bit sticky, so I'm going to keep... Yeah, we definitely want some more flour. I want to get it to the point where I can knead it without it sticking to my hands, and then I will be happy to just go at it. See, it's... We're still too sticky. We're still too sticky. It's got to be the humidity, because it is humid in here. Because again, we're in the height of summer. We had thunderstorms the past 2 days, and I think we're going to have possibly another one. This is supposed to be a soft, smooth, and not sticky. Not sticky is key here, because I need to be able to roll it out into the long wormy bits. And if it sticks to me or the table while I'm doing that, it won't develop those long wormy bits. Still a little bit too sticky. Just keep going, I guess. I'm going to end up over kneading this is what's going to happen. Because I keep having to... Bucket. Sorry, pardon my language. I'm just going to add a whole bunch. We're just going to add a whole bunch. Otherwise I'm going to end up over kneading this. It's supposed to be a soft dough. It doesn't need to be really springy. And I just want it to not be sticking to me, please. And the longer I knead it, the more likely it is to get overworked. Well, it definitely is possible because last time I made pretzels, the glutens were so tight that when I rolled my worms out, they contracted back in on each other, and when I wound my pretzels, they turned into little balls. So it's definitely doable. Although that was a pre-made dough, so I'm sure that dough had already been heavily developed prior to me getting a hold of it. And then I kneaded it a bunch more. Okay. I think we're getting there. I think we're getting there. Another cleanup. Gonna be another flour cleanup day. It always gets under the edge of my spice rack, which you can't see, but it's right there. Use this to clean up some of the extra flour around the edges. Now I wanted it to, it's still trying to stick to me and the table, which again has got to be humidity. It's got to be humidity. Because we've now added a lot more flour than the thing suggested. Okay. It feels soft, it feels incorporated. I think we're finally not sticking. We're smooth, it bounces back a little bit. If I let it sit still for a minute, it's not grabbing the countertop. I think we've made it. Keep kneading it a bit. It's a nice soft dough. Okay, then this has to go back in the bowl just so it can rest. It keeps wanting to grab the countertop. We're going to flour the bowl just so it doesn't stick to the bowl while it's sitting here. Put my air conditioner on. We're going to set that to the side because this recipe says rest for a few minutes, rest for 10 minutes. While you're resting, get your baking soda bath ready. And also I got to get this off my hands. And I suppose we should scrape that. Well, no, we'll scrape that down later. Okay. Hands depasted. Oven's hot. Oven's actually been hot for a little while. join me, won't you, over here. We're making a baking soda bath, which, will this fit? What's the volume on this? The bottom is so burned, I don't know if I can. 3/4. Quart. So this pot is too small, which is annoying because that I might have to get out in the big pot. This is a 4.5 quart. Okay, that'll be big enough. It's got a little bit of a narrower top, so we will have to do them one at a time in here, but we can work with that. Excess flour out of that measuring cup because we're using the same measuring cup. We need 1/2 cup of baking soda. Baking soda, unlike flour, is not very compressible, so it is okay to measure it by volume. Generally. And I've got one of these little baking sodas. Make sure I've got the right thing. Baking soda, not baking powder. We made that mistake before. I think we're going to use up this can of baking soda is the thing. I'm going to have to get a new one. We have in fact used up the entire can of baking soda for just shy of a 1/2 cup. I'm glad we had that. I'm glad we had exactly just enough. Because I did not check. I did not check, and I just assumed I had it. Fun. Close to the line on that one. And then we add to that 9 cups of water, and that's the proportion it gave me. And I was hoping to use the shorter, wider pot for this. But my shorter, wider pot does not hold 9 cups. In fact, we should have probably cut this in half and used the smaller pot. Now I'm committed. How much would you say I should hold back? We've got 8 cups in there so far. 3/4 of a cup for the last one? I guess 3/4. Oh, half. I can do half. Just a hair over half. It's more of an art than a science. Let's try to get that guy started dissolving. Those little bits that get stuck on the bottom. Okay. and bring you up to a simmer, I believe. We don't want a hard boil. To a boil. Oh. To a boil. I guess we'll crank it up on that. Boiling that, I'm going to prep my sheets to receive it. Ooh, that's not ideal. Boy, I did not come into this prepared. That is all of my parchment paper. I have no more parchment paper. And ooh, I have a scrap of parchment paper. This is going to be... I do not have a silicone baking mat. I have parchment paper. I was expecting to use 2 sheets here. We might have to do this in batches because I do not have enough parchment paper to go around. Although the parchment paper is going to get really toasty in between there. I have 2 sheets, 2 sheet pans, but I do not have enough parchment paper for them both. We might have to do this in batches. Got tons of aluminum foil. It was aluminum. Google suggests that some people use aluminum foil. Others suggest that you should never ever use aluminum foil. So, oops, Zizan wants another moisten. Moist. Well, I think we're probably going to do it in 2 stages and attempt to reuse the baking paper. Because I don't see another answer here. Wax paper will just melt and burn. I didn't realize my parchment was that low. Yeah, unless we want to just grease up a pan and... I do not have pretzel salt, I have sea salt. We'll be using sea salt for my salting today. I didn't realize this guy was that low. Well, oh well. That's okay, we got lots of time. Let's get out my dough ball. break it clear in half, throw half back in the pot. Now I've had a hard time with rolling things out before. So I'm going to roll this out, split it, split it, split it. And then each of these is going to be rolled out into our pretzel snakes. We'll see how much room they take up as well. We might be able to get away with more than the recommended 6. Yeah, I think we're going to just do it in 2 batches. Too much flour. Also, these are inconsistently sized. Push this to the side. Too much flour. This one. There we go. Too much flour on those. Sure, because adding fat to lye or any strong base is how you make soap. So you'd be risking turning turning the surface of your pretzels into soap. If you didn't know, that's how you make soap. You combine lye with fat. Too much flour. We definitely put too much flour on that. That one was much easier to roll out than that one. They still kind of want to grab in on each other, but no, I don't particularly want soap flavored pretzel. Ooh, my flour of tower, the tower flour, was precariously tipping over the side of the sloped trash can shelf that I have on the side here. That would have been a disaster of epic proportions. This one didn't want to get as long. I can feel this one being a little more glutinous. I'm just going to pull it instead of rolling it. See if I can't get it to lengthen out. That was the largest blob I had. Yeah, exactly. That's why it eats your. That's why lye eats your hand. Well, it's not the fat under your skin. Your cell walls are made of a combination of proteins and lipids, and what the lye does is it pulls the lipids out of your cell walls and converts them into soap, which causes the cells on the surface of your skin to just fall apart. It's Brutal. See, this is what my pretzels were doing last time. They really want to kind of, oop, oh shoot, I pulled that one too hard. It's not quite as strong as I thought it was, and it broke when I tried to pull it. But I want these to kind of rest long. Oh, sorry, I pushed these off the top of the screen. You couldn't even see most of them. My baking soda bath has achieved the bubbling noises. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to tie each one, boil it, transfer it to this thing, and while they're baking, we will do this with the other half of the dough. You are the pretzel expert. I'm more of a general science guy. Come on. Roll. Roll. Don't slide. This side just wants to slide instead of rolling. We have an ad coming up in 30 seconds. Soap blisters, interesting. Again, if I was working with lye, I would have goggles, big thick gloves. I'm aware of the dangers of highly caustic materials. Okay, I need to pull up the reference recipe. For the tying, because I do not remember how to do this, but there's handy dandy pictures. So we're going to put all of the ropes over to the side. This one is going to be trouble, so I'm going to do that one first as my practice boy. Okay, all the ropes to the side. This one's going to be trouble because I pulled it over here too hard and it tore just a little bit. Not all the way through, but it did tear. So we take our pretzel, we cross it, we cross it again, and then we flip it down. And then we press those little corners in. And that's a pretzel. Ad break in progress. I made my first pretzel during the ad break. It's supposed to be in the bath for 30 seconds, and I'm going to get my spider ready for this. Okay. Watch the timer closely. And that's 30 seconds. Pretzel. Oop, we're on the wrong side for that. Okay, that went okay. Come back over here. Twist, twist, flip, push the little guys down. Oop, I said push the little guys down. Pretzel. Pinhole. Yeah, well, certainly, but if you're working with caustic materials, safety practices say you should be checking your equipment. I know, there's always accidents. But I've worked with boiling oil, and I've only splashed that on myself a couple of times. $30. They certainly do poof up when you boil them. Twist, twist, flip. That's a big one. Push the little corners in. Boil. We can't. It firms them up too, which is nice. I should probably put some salt on while they're still tacky. $30. Shoop. That's a big one. Oop. Ow. I touched it. See, that's why I would be afraid of doing this with lies, because I definitely want to touch these more than I should. Flip, flip, twist. Push the little corners in. Dunk. Get this guy straightened out before he firms up. We need more salt. My salt dish is getting a little bit low. That's fine, I've got lots of salt. Salt is something we have in spades. Last time I believe I forgot to salt them before they dried out and the salt all fell off. Or perhaps I didn't salt them. We did upside down pretzel. We did some weird things. Ow, boiling water. We did some weird things last time for sure. It's so interesting to have an expert in the thing I'm doing watching. What do you think? How am I doing? Baking is definitely not my strength, which is why I have been practicing it so much. I want it to be more of a strength. I did not look at the clock for this one. So I'm going to assume that I've overshot it. Number 6. There definitely is only room for 6 on this tray, so. The shape is much nicer this time too. We definitely nailed that compared to last time when I had little balls. And we had one that was just like 3 times the size of the other ones. Well, thank you. I mean, I wouldn't call myself a home baker. I'm a home cook. Baking is is not my typical forte. Oh, the clock again. But I'm getting better at it. I've been making breads. Just last week we made pita. They didn't puff up, but they were so tasty, and they were pillowy soft. A baker right now. Well, right now, I'm a chemist. This isn't baking. Baking in like a little bit. And that is our 6th and final pretzel. Baking is applied chemistry. Fair point. Baking is in fact applied chemistry. I was thinking to make the cheese sauce while these were in the oven, but now we're going to make the second round of them while the first round is in the oven. So that's going to stretch us out a little bit. So we probably won't have time for any side projects today. But yeah, I've been enjoying bake. I avoided it for a long time because I know it's very picky compared to the kind of cooking I'm more comfortable with. Let's bring you down from a hard boil because you're losing water. I'm actually going to add a little bit of water to our mix there because I can see the line where we started and we've lost a bunch of volume. And it needs to come back up to a simmer anyways. But I can see the line where we started and we've come down from it, so. Okay. Batch 1 of Pretz are going in our oven, which has been hot for a while now. And we're going to set a actual timer for 12. Oh, no, I don't want to full screen the timer. I wanted the timer to pop out. So I can put it in a little tiny window. Oh, come on. Okay, and we'll put that somewhere. Yeah, that's the thing why I want to try experimenting with a harsher alkaline, because I don't want the water to boil. I know that the lye dip is literally just a dip into lye water for just a couple seconds. And baking soda, because it is so much less intense, less alkaline. It requires the water to be boiling to get the effect. So those are in the oven. We've got the timer running. We're going to roll out the remaining 6 snakes to be ready when the pan frees up. This one should, in theory, be easier to roll because it's been resting now this whole time. Got to remember to leave the ends slightly bigger so we don't get those small balls. And remove the excess flour. Okay. Oop. Still a little bit too much flour. Having some sliding instead of rolling. You know what we could do? Since we just made 6 plain ones, we could add a flavor to the second batch. See, we're getting that sliding motion from the excess flour not wanting to work. I'm getting more confident as we go. And recognizing my own mistakes, like the extra. We do not need this excess flour. I'm just going to get rid of that now. But we're having fun. This is becoming a fun time. We'll have to revisit some others that I've said. Oh, we need to come back to that. Like baguette. That one was so tasty. And the first time I made it was so perfect. And then the second time I made it was underwhelming to disappointing. So we need to go back to baguette and do it right and work out what I did the second time that screwed it up. Because I had it the first time, and then we screwed it up. Ooh, there's a big old balloon in the middle of this guy. Get out of there, big old balloon. You're gonna mess up my thing. Big old bubble. Yeah, I mean, I didn't get to pick my countertop. The place came with this countertop. I would definitely prefer. What I want is a butcher's block. Honestly, it has the most general utility because you can cut right on it. Twist, twist, pretzel. twist these a little bit earlier so that they actually can like stick to themselves naturally instead of me having to press the points in. They look so perfect, and then I have to pick them up to move them, and they look less perfect. Stretch my ends out a little bit. Of course, what I should probably do is practice sweets as well. All the baking that I've done here on the channel is savory baking. Breads and pies, and even the cheesecakes. Okay. 6 more pretzels, ready to go. Our water is coming back up. Well, do we want to try flavoring? Oh, pick them up by the legs. Oh, neat. That guy does need a little bit of a help. They're trying to stick to my work surface just a little bit, which is not ideal. Oh, that one's messed up. That one got tacky on the bottom in a way that I was not pleased with. Isosceles, who is evidently lurking something furious, wants a moisten. Moist. Was that as good for you as it was for me? I'm going to put some things away while we are waiting the last couple of minutes here on the pretzels that are in the oven. As usual, I did a bunch of dishes just before we started, so there are dry dishes waiting to be put away. So how's everyone's morning going? Well, we have a couple of minutes of just kind of tidying up. I went into a spiel about how my week has been going at the beginning. Probably before anyone arrived, but whatever. Oop. Those drips dodged make 4,000 more. I think I'm going to make 12 and call that a day's work. Thank you very much. Cat throwing full weight. You know, I mean, that sounds pretty good to me. Ugh. My feet hurt. I got a new plate. This is something I've been looking for at the thrift stores for a while, and one of them finally turned up. It's a plate. It's a black plate, and it's flat with a lipped edge instead of being flat with a sloped edge. And I've been looking for one of these because there are some things that just display better on this kind of plate. And there aren't a lot of them around. I don't really want to buy one new, but one of them turned up at a thrift store. So, oops, and I have wet on my hands. So 4,000 seems like quite a few for a beginner. I don't have a place to put that plate, so it currently lives over there on the dining table. There is our timer. Reset. Let's take a peek. Our water, our baking soda water, has come back to a simmer, ready for more pretzels. Our pretzels in the oven look like they need a few more minutes. They're browning on top, but they are a little pale, in my opinion. I'm anxious to see how the professional in the room thinks of our finished product. So, while we are waiting a few extra minutes, let's talk about the cheese dip that I want to make for these. We're making homemade cheese sauce. I had to run out and pick up some evaporated milk. So, step one, evaporated milk. We will do this in this pot there, so it's visible. Starch, pepper. We're going to add a little bit of butter to the pan, and I want to start. I literally haven't even started this, and I'm already off recipe. This is the kind of cooking I'm used to. Total off recipe, just, let's try this. Butter. Temperature. Butter makes everything better. The cutting board's going to live on the side for just a minute, but I wanted to, because I want to put some pepper in this. The jalapenos at the store are doing this, where they are green going into orange. Toka! Hello, hello, welcome, welcome. I suppose it's a afternoon going on dinner time for you. How's it going? Welcome in. You are in time to see the first batch of pretzels coming out of the oven. They should be ready momentarily. We didn't set a new timer for them. I just said I'll give them a couple extra minutes. And then we have to get them off of their... I'm having a pretty good Saturday. My feet hurt because I got a blister running in bad shoes yesterday to get my car back before the mechanic closed, because they forgot to call me and I didn't call them. Ooh, they're nice and dark brown. We're taking them out. Okay, because we need to reuse this pan, so it's going to have to cool off a little bit sitting here. But there they are. That one looks weird. Oh, we got to get them off of that pan. Toka was just making ramen yesterday. Toka, our resident ramen enjoyer. I mean, everyone enjoys ramen, but Toka especially. They're sticking. Ooh, they're sticking. Not badly, but I bet you the second round are going to stick something fierce. Okay. Yeah, they're on the far side, unfortunately. We've got to turn that down. We need to boil the remaining pretzels. We're going to start with this one that was trying to stick to the countertop because I need to get it out of there before it actually sticks to the countertop. Here, I don't have a good place to put them. As for the type of cheese sauce, this is going to be a queso, Mexican queso style. Salt the paper to avoid sticking. We can do that. We can try that. But this is now second pass on this paper. I'm going to avoid the extra flour because I don't want a floury pretzel. You can always put flour, like same thing with oil. We could oil it. Oil it would definitely prevent it from sticking, but it would give you a weird flavor. And I think the same thing would happen with flour in this case. I don't want a floury surface. I already overboiled that one. So that's going to be just like the one that kind of overboiled in the first round. Let's keep going. Okay, so we're going to be distracted from our cheese sauce for just a moment because I'm making the pretzels now. Salt. I said I might add a flavor. I'm not going to add a flavor. We're going to go with just salt. As soon as these guys are clear, I will move the baked ones over here so we can take a closer look at them. But I just didn't think I had time to do that. Sliding these guys off onto the sheet seems like it's better than flipping them. So we will try to do that. Ad break. Oh, we have an ad break. Once again, it snuck up on me. Once again, it snuck up on me. As always. Exciting stuff today. They look pretty good. Oh, that's what my finger. I licked my finger after touching the salt, and it hurt my mouth. And I was like, "What the heck happened?" And it's like, "Oh, of course, I was touching a pepper just seconds ago. It's the pepper." Why does this hurt my mouth? Pepper hurts the mouth. Javs plays is raiding. I do not have a raid sound for you, but I can do a song and dance. Welcome to the Pretzel Show. I'm messing up some pretzels. Welcome, 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 Raiders. Oh my goodness. We have Zero Wingu, Ashimir, out of Samu. You should get some Samu. And Javs. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What were you doing? I don't have the hands for a shout out. Shout. Chilean hot dogs. Oh, you will have to tell us about what makes Chilean hot dogs extra special. There is your shout out. We are making pretzels, as you can see. Hello, hello, hello. Let me drop a follow. Everybody else can drop a follow as well. Well, I hope they were extra delicious. We're on the second round, and as soon as that last one comes off the counter over there, I will pull over the first batch, and we can take a peek at them. We didn't have the room to move them over. Of course. I do that every time. Lurking is, of course, always welcome. Lurkers are the backbone of every channel. We're not cooking with lye today. We are not doing a lye bathed pretzel. We are doing baking soda, which is why our pot here is at a simmer, and why I am not using gloves. I'm sure lye is... in fact, we've had Akabara here helping along, who is a professional pretzel maker, which is very exciting and just a scooch intimidating for an who knows what I'm doing like me. Nomi is here. Hi, Nomi. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to give this guy a flip. I probably should have been flipping these all along to make sure that both sides get nice and simmered. But yeah, I will have to check out Javs. Oh my god, that tappy Fuecoco is so adorable. I'll have to check out Javs next time. Chilean hot dogs sound amazing, and I would love to see them. Nope. Heat off, because that is our last pretzel. Let that guy stop boiling hot now for a moment. Get them salted. And in the oven, and it looks like we need the full 15. for the first one, so we're going to do the full 15 for the second one rather than setting it at 12 and then adding time. Beer cheese. We're not making a beer cheese today. That does sound amazing, but we are not actually making a beer cheese today. Oh, and we're making a brown butter sauce, I guess, because my butter has gone real brown. Distractedly brown. Okay. Well, brown butter sauce it is. I promised to bring these over for a closer inspection, and I shall do. There are the first batch. The little poked in things are obvious to me, but they're nice and golden brown. This guy I think got overboiled. Oh, okay. I put my hands here because this shiny mesh screws with the camera. I think this one got a little bit overboiled, and that's why it's fat and splitting a little bit. Gotta keep my hands here to break up this mesh. Well, you like that one. We can't keep this on the camera, otherwise when I pull my hands away, it'll start to freeze. Behold! So, we can't keep that there, sadly. We're gonna put it somewhere else. We can't keep that there because it'll freak my camera out, and we have to open spaces. Okay, like I said, our butter went brown. That camera needs to be replaced. Okay, so I'm gonna make a queso for these. We're not making a beer cheese, we're making a queso, but I don't want it to be super spicy, so we're taking the seeds out of our jalapeno. I'll get I don't have a scraps bowl. Once again, we've neglected a scraps bowl, so we're just scraping stuff directly into the compost like a pleb. Oh, I should just get a scraps bowl. That's there's a stank in there. Oh, what time do we have? 1:45. That's actually a good timing. So I noticed the jalapenos at the store are very multicolored right now. Normally I actually go out of my way to look for ones that have the tiniest little blush of color on them, because they will continue turning color after you, if you keep them. They keep ripening up. And the red ones normally cost more than the green ones. So getting the green ones that are going red on their own just seems like a good idea. But this time, lots of them were already partially or mostly orange. Okay, so I grabbed one. This is going to... I was intending to simmer these in a little bit of less brown butter, but we lost track of things because I am easily distracted. We're also using part of an onion because we're trying to use up these weird onions that went off really quickly, but like from the outside. So I end up taking a ring off and throwing it away every time I use one of these onions, because the outer layer is just like gone mushy. Because we want a little bit of onion in here too. And yes, I know I have bad knife technique. I've always had bad knife technique. Someday we'll practice knives. Oh, I turned that burner completely off. That's why we're not sizzling. That explains why we didn't sizzle. Okay, we're going to saute down some jalapeno and some onion in our deeply browned butter. My bad knife technique is because I don't curl my fingertips away from the blade. So when I'm cutting, I do this, which is how you take the tip of your fingers off. You're supposed to curl your fingers under so that the knife glides over your knuckles so that you don't take the tip of your finger off. That's my bad knife technique. Okay, so while our peppers and onions are getting started in their brown butter, we want them to sweat out, so we're going to give them a pinch of salt. Still sliced your fingers that way. I've actually not cut myself with a knife that way. I have cut myself several times, but usually, ooh, getting warm in here. In fact, it's getting as though I've had a pot of boiling water in here. I'm going to turn the air on in the other room. It should not impact our sound quality here in the kitchen, so I've cut myself several times, but not doing it that way, which is why I have thus far managed to avoid having to change my ways, change my evil ways. No, we're not using flour. We're not making a roux. We're making a lightly thickened sauce. We want a cornstarch. And we need to add our this is evaporated milk. This is a great way to add more milk per milk to your milk when you need milk. And this thing, if we crank it back one, is the can opener that I've been gradually getting used to. Evaporated milk. In the pot. Yeah, I know, and I know I should be correcting my my practices because I know that it can happen, but you know, it's not gonna sink. I don't think it's gonna sink in until I actually do cut myself. So I guess stay tuned for that. And yes, what a sentence. When you want more milk in your milk, use a milkier milk. Get out our scales and our cheese. I have a big block, here it is, of pepper jacks. We're adding even more pepper to this. How much? It's 13 ounces. And we want, we're gonna make a lot of cheese sauce. Okay, I'm gonna have to find things to do with cheese sauce because we've committed now to a lot of cheese sauce. Wowee, for that quantity of evaporated milk, I need all that cheese. Golly, we're making a lot of cheese sauce. Yeah, cheese sauce, it doesn't, the thing is, it's not going to keep really very long. Well, I suppose we're cooking it. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. But we need to make all that cheese. This is going to be quite a bit of cheese sauce. So we are not making a Mornay in the style of like a mac and cheese. If you're unaware, the sauce that goes on mac and cheese is essentially a French Mornay. Okay. That's actually too hot. We don't want to scald our... We've already scalded it. We don't want to scald it too hard. We need to get the cheese in there and started melting. Oh, there'll be lots of uses. I will definitely have uses for the cheese sauce, but it's making a little bit more than I was expecting. The dough balls. Never put your hands in the machine. Oh my God. I'm not going to penalize you, but I'm going to say, let's direct the conversation away from kitchen injuries going forward, please. I'm not super squeamish, but I know that there are definitely some people who are. So we're just going to chop this up and add it the peppers and onions are already in there, so whatever I add, whatever I do will already be very similar. I don't think it's worth the trouble at this stage. We've got a minute left on the pretzels. This is essentially going to be done when the cheese is melted. And I know, cubing them up smaller would make them melt faster. Grating it would make it melt even faster, but oh well. I have quite a lot of cheese on hand anyways, so I'm not scuffed about using up a big block of it like this. I keep buying cheese when I have cheese, and because I love cheese. But eventually you've got too much cheese. So we're clearing out some cheese. Yes, there will be cheesy meals in my future. This actually would be excellent as a. I think this would be excellent as a. There's our timer. Get rid of that. Take a peek. Take a peek. Take a peek. Take a peek. Woo! They look good. They look good. They look good. Let's get them out of there. Ooh, these are saltier than the first round too, which is good. They can rest on the counter. Actually, let me, since we don't have anything in the way right now, we can in fact just show them off on the better camera directly, and we don't have the mesh messing them up. They look pretty good to me. This one in the front corner down here kind of cracked up a little bit. They look pretty good to me. And the question is, did they stick? I'm going to let them cool off a little bit before I answer that, and also so that I can get all of the remaining cheese in my pot. They weren't sliding around as I was handling the pan, so they're at least clinging to it. I don't know if they're fully stuck. Okay. That was just some good old Wisconsin pepper jack. Where's my spatula? Let's get us all over to the stove. Make sure that this is neither sticking at the bottom nor skinning at the top. The cheese will help bring that skin of butter into this mess. Okay. I was saying before I got interrupted by the timer, I think this would be excellent as a queso for tacos, possibly quesadillas. Quesadillas usually don't have quite that watery of a cheese, or that runny of a cheese. Not watery, because there's no water in it. But they don't quite have that runny of a cheese because they want to stick together. But there's already salt in there. We do want to add some pepper. So I've got a couple different kinds of pepper in here. And we're not stopping there because I'm also going to add a little bit of this kind of pepper. So we're making it, oop, that's enough of that. Don't want much of that. We've already got spice going on in here. Nachos. I don't have any chips right now, but yes. I will have to buy some chips. This would be excellent for nachos. We'll also see how thick it ends up being. We might actually have to add a little bit more cheese to make it thicken up, although it will be thicker when it cools, so we don't want to over thicken it now. And also we're going to add some cornstarch to it to properly thicken it up. Okay. Let's see how badly, if at all, these pretzels are stuck. They are stuck. I don't think they're stuck any worse than the first round, but they definitely are. Oh, that one is. Holding on, yeah. Well, A silicone baking mat is something that I would like to have at some point, and that would have made this easier. I don't think they're stuck particularly worse than the first round, so about a horse apiece, but probably would have been worse if I'd just put them straight on the already used. I do not have a throne. I've been meaning to set that up along with the Kofi and, you know, all those other peripherals that you gotta have. But I do not have a throne, and I do need to set that up because that would be an excellent way for people to help support this whole crazy thing. Especially since I would like to go back into doing some Lego. But Legos are very expensive, and Throne is a good place for people to support, specifically Lego. Although a camera would also be good on there. The cheese is melted and already pretty thick. Starts bubbling. Stir in the cheese. Blah, 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 blah. We've done all that. We skipped ahead. Whisk constantly while the cheese melts. I don't think that's necessary. If you want it thicker, add more cheese. Temperature down because we're going to burn this. If I don't. Or rather, we'll always split it if I don't. This one wants me to put the jalapenos in afterwards. I wanted the jalapenos to be more infused. If you want it browned. Browned? Yours isn't brown at all. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we've already done it. I didn't even read the recipe. I just used it for the proportion of milk to cheese. It might not meet cornstarch. Let me grab a spoon. It's separating a little bit. Might have gotten a little bit too hot there just before I moved it off the burner. Oh, it tastes good. It tastes good. It's a little bit grainy. It's a little bit separated. We might be able to bring that back together with some vigorous whisking. How to unsplit a cheese sauce. The ad break started. I once again snuck up on me. Google says whisk vigorously. If that doesn't save it, off the heat, add a little bit of starch. Okay. That burner's off, but it still has a bunch of residual on it. Let's retrieve the now well-cooled first batch. And Welcome back from the ads. I'm sorry I forgot to call them out. I frequently get distracted here in the kitchen. We do run ads here on the channel so that we can get rid of the pre-roll ads, which there's a debate as to which is better, and I know that there's a some hot opinions on both sides. But I think I'd rather run an ad at a controlled pace rather than have new people bounce off when they arrive and an ad plays immediately. We can make that a whole discussion someday. Are you still hot to the touch? You are, but not really extremely. Are you still hot? No. Okay. I think we caught this before it could really curdle up and separate. And we're going to have just a tiny bit of graininess to it. But it is still a cohesive sauce. And it's not developing any sort of pooling fats on the surface, which is a good sign that we unsplit it. More heat at this stage. Oh, it's getting hot in here. More heat at this stage would definitely, I think, split it. I don't think we need the starch. Whew. Warm in here. And that was our full project. That was the full project, and it took the full time. Because of the 2 batches on the pretzels, I'm pretty sure. Otherwise, we could have had a quick, I don't know, bowl of noodles or something. I'm going to say we don't need the cornstarch. Okay, that's our whole project. Here are our finished pretzels. I'm going to have to artfully stack them on a plate for our photo op. Let's go with square because the pretzels themselves are quite round. I actually think the second batch looks better. So the second round is over here, the first round is over here. I think the second ones look a bit better, so I'm going to try to perch them on the top. We will pull one aside for tasting, because why not? I'm going to eat this one. That's the one. Maybe not. I think that one might be too picturesque to relegate to being torn up before I take the photo. I'm going to eat this one because I think it's the least picturesque of them in the second batch. Get the mesh away. Get the board away. And here's our plate of pretzels. In fact, I'm going to go take a photo with all of them and the cheese sauce. Then we will eat one. Cheese sauce goes in a ramekin. Sodium citrate. Yes, I don't have a lot of the like kitchen chemistry stuff. I know we talked about chemistry earlier. I don't have a lot of that. I've looked into like stocking up on some of those things. In particular, I'm interested in sodium citrate, which you just mentioned, and modified food starch, which is used as a cold, stable thickener in a lot of packaged goods, and you can buy it. The stuff that's in instant pudding that you can just mix into cold milk and it makes it seize up smoothly. You can buy that stuff, which means you can make whatever flavor you want. Let's move this all to the other room for a sec so I can take a photo for the old Instagram. Oops, my light is unplugged. If you're not following me on Instagram, it is my same name here, but with an underscore in the middle because it was taken. And I've got photos. Not just of things I've made here on the stream, but also things I've made off the stream. It's not comprehensive. We also have a Discord. I should post the link to the Discord as well. Okay. Let's try an angle as well. Always take lots of photos. The curse of cooking for entertainment. You have to stop and take photos when the food is at its prime, rather than just diving in. Okay, we're back. And we only have one step left, and that is the tasting. But here, oh, we had another ad. Damn it! I keep getting caught out by, or no, ad break ends in, ad starts in. Are you seeing an ad right now? I think my Twitch, my player panel is having a freak out. Let me. You're not having an ad right now. Okay, then my player panel's having a freak out because one of them says I'm having an ad and the other one says I'm not. If you want to see the photos, that's my Instagram where I post food photos, and my let's see, invite. My very anemic and poorly put together Discord, which I should give more love to. I would link my Twitter, but it's not Twitter anymore, and I've stopped caring about that site. Anyways, if you want to see photos, the nicer version of the photos of this, because I know my overhead cam's not the greatest. They'll be up there in a little bit. We need to give a hold taste test, and I'm going to tear this guy apart. We're going to give it a plain bite, see how we did. Chewy. Little bit of crackle on the surface. Good salt coverage. Pretzely, but not like extremely pretzely. It tastes like Like if you made a pretzel roll for a sandwich, we didn't get like really pretzel-y. We got good color. It is tasty, and it's got that chew. It's got that pretzel-y chew to it. Let's taste our queso, which looks pretty good. Nice coverage. Queso's nice and warm still. The pretzels have cooled off a bit. Just from the sort of sitting around and taking the photo. But the queso is retaining heat. I would say the ones that boiled too long, the ones that didn't boil too long are, well, this one, the one I've tasted so far, is slightly less pretzel-y. So I bet the ones that boiled a little bit too long are probably getting into the good stage. That's my guess. I'm not going to rip open a whole bunch of these because I want to share these. These are some of these are for sharing. That was good. That was fun. I definitely did a way better job than last time. They aren't little balls. They actually have the holes in between the loops. My last round of these, every single one of them contracted in and made just a little sort of knot, which they tasted fine, but they didn't look like pretzels. These guys worked way better. Yeah, and that wasn't that hard. It was a little fussy with the boiling baking soda. I think I lost track of my cheese sauce just a little bit, and it's just a tiny bit grainy. It's not like, it's definitely not split, and it's clearly not separating any loose oil. So I don't know. It got away from me a couple times. So it could have been the brown butter. It could have been when the edges of the milk started to boil a little bit before I added the cheese in. But we split it just a whisper of a split on it. So it's got just a tiny bit of a grainy texture. The flavor is great. It's very rich and creamy, but spicy and savory too. I would. I don't think it needs anything. It's got a good spice to it. I probably in the future, I'm not going to add anything to it now, and I probably in the future add a little bit more chipotle pepper to it, or maybe even some ancho, because I think it needs a little bit of a smoky note. I think that would perk it up a lot. It goes really well with these pretzels. Tell you what. I'm gonna finish this guy, but I'm gonna have to control myself not to eat the rest of those. Well, yeah, I had a huge brick of pepper jack that I wanted to use up, so we did only do a one cheese in here. But yes, doing a mixture of cheeses would also, I think, level up the cheese sauce. A smoked mozzarella. Oh, that's a great idea. I've got smoked paprika literally right here. Let's try that. Let's try it right now. But I think a smoked mozzarella, which would also, mozzarella melts so well that it would also be a. Yes. Yes. It's faint. It's faint, but that's all it needed to be was faint. Just a hint. But I think a smoked mozzarella would be, if we did a half pepper jack, half smoked mozzarella, we'd get that smoky flavor, and the mozzarella melts so well. It's such a good melting cheese that it would help pull the sauce together and resist the that tiny bit of split, because Monterey Jack is not usually recommended to be used as a melting cheese completely by itself, the way I did it here. You usually want another cheese to kind of help it join in. But that little hint of smoke in that, that is exactly what that was calling for. Good shout. Glad to have an experienced. We're getting to the point where I'm the experienced person, but good to have somebody who actually knows what they're talking about instead of me flailing about like we usually have. I guess I'm eating cheese for the next week, but that's fine. I love cheese. I've just been eating this and enjoying it, which normally I don't do. Normally I take a bite, but this is good. This is good, and I haven't eaten anything else today, so I'm quite hungry. So yeah, I'm pleased. I would like to try this with pickling lime and a shorter bath, but I'm not sure. Like Bara said, it can throw the flavor off, so it would be an experiment on my part to see how it works. Otherwise, try the lye bath at some point. Well, you are always welcome here. We don't often make pretzels, but I've been meaning to revisit pretzels since our modest success the first time I did them. So you are welcome back for non-pretzel content anytime. We make all sorts of nonsense around here. Sometimes it's me learning how to do something, and sometimes it's me grabbing an idea and just soldiering forth with no plan. Early on, we made a pizza cheesecake, which I liked, but nobody else did. But we're wrapping up because that has been over 2 hours, and I need to make myself an actual lunch. So I know exactly who we're raiding. We're going to raid out, continue the fun going. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the raid to Javs. I will check you out next time you are on. We are going to go visit Elana Orama, who we have visited before and I believe has visited us here. She is also cooking today, so we're actually dropping off into another cooking stream this time, unlike usual. She's making, at least she was when I was checking it out earlier this morning, Irish soda bread and things to go with it. I'm not sure what else was going with it. We were talking just about the bread at the start. So I'm interested to see how that's going. Yeah, so that's the plan. That's the story. I will be packing up the pretzels and the cheese. If you see me this evening and you know who you are, you might be getting some pretzels because I made plenty for sharing. And they're better the fresher they are. There's our countdown, so I will just faff about and send you off to Elana. Bye.